The human being first finds itself in a general horizon called the world, and only secondarily deals with what is within the world, that is self, things, and people. It is by dealing and dwelling into the world that the human being is able to understand himself and everything around him, and will eventually build a powerful way of thinking to deal with what will face him. The human being then tries to prove his presence by leaving traces behind him, such as buildings, discoveries, inventions, etc. And the experimentation that goes with building traces is what makes us dwell into this world and have a way to feel time and its beauty, and at the end realize that we are being towards death, or simply being. In my Rig 4 model, my goal was to embody the quote in the most peaceful way, where I represent two pathways coming from the unknown, leading to an end, and added an opening at the bottom of the cylinder as a way of escape. Here are the studies that I went through. From the beginning, I had the same working concept, but slowly worked on emphasizing my idea while working more on the aesthetics of the model and discovering the material more while going from a step to another. The Rig N is a kinetic, more complex representation of the idea of being in the world. It is a partial abstraction of a bigger system, built with only the essential details. In it, I wanted to visualize the idea of discovering the world, but at the same time, needing a break from what is around us and returning to our cocoon when needed. And coming back to time, the action of going in and out is connected to a pendulum that for me represents time, and that's because we as humans can turn time into our best friend and benefit from it as a way to discover and create, or our enemy by making us live behind our cover and not be able to achieve anything at all, and thus not be able to dwell in our world. And here is a study of my kinetic model that made me understand the beginning point of work in a much simpler way of movement. In the conceptual drawings, I try to offer more than what meets the eye, and draw focus on the immaterial idea rather than on the physical work itself, and that is by extending some parts of the model and fading others. Here we can see the effect of an explosion, a hand of treachery that messed a face and stole a beauty. While this shows the silos opening their eyes, shocked by what happened after the August 4th explosion. The amount of sand in this picture shows loneliness in a way or another. It represents the beginning of something, but in fact, it is the after effect of an explosion, which makes us directly think of returning to the beginning stage after reaching a very important one. It shows the damage and the mess due to what happened after having a very strong structure that got destroyed in less than a second. This picture shows further damage since we can see more details, and the presence of the dog passing by shows how empty this place has become. It simply shows a very sad, damaged end of something. This picture shows void, emptiness, loneliness. This picture is a representation of taking a part of something and never know if it's going to heal or not. Jumping to the group's context analysis, one of the ideas that we discussed is the Dahlia Shore, a place where we can get to know different types of fauna and flora. One of them are seals. that are becoming now endangered species because of hunters. And we also talked about sand, which is a naturally occurring phenomenon that has more than one use. Sand is known as a symbol of comfort because of its softness while walking on it and feeling it. When we think of sand, we directly think of beach, which leads us to our subject, seals. The in situ that I chose are the seals, since they are a representation of something that we are losing the way we lost our port, and are related to sand, since we see seals while we are on the beach shore. While the ex situ is a zoo, it's a man-made habitat that offers less mobility to the animals, as it is a smaller area of their in situ. While it is protecting the animals from predators, it is at the same time not letting them live where they should be.